as I'm talking. Okay. Reduce, reuse, recycle is a cry to our citizens to be more conservation conscious. People recycle cans, plastic bottles, and glass. However, they're not reusing food scraps or organic materials from lawns, which saves money, time, and a slice of our environment. The Environmental Protection Agency, also known as the EPA, says that 27% of materials that go to landfills consist of yard trimmings and food waste. These are items that could be used in composting. Creating a compost pile at home will lessen the amount of waste that's headed to landfills. Composting generates a nutrient-rich material that can be used to rejuvenate the soil in our gardens and flower beds. Today we will discuss, first, the amount of materials heading to landfills, second, the process of creating a compost pile, and third, the benefits of using composting material. My sources today are the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, 2 articles from takecareoftexas.org, which is a publication of the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, and the City of Boston Public Works. Landfills are full of materials that can be used for composting. I don't consider myself to be an environmentalist, but I do believe it's important that we do what we can to take care of our environment. Many people do recycle metal cans, paper products, and glass jars. Plastic water bottles as well. But we could be doing more. It is suggested in an article from the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality that 20% of waste generated by Texans are yard waste and cuttings. According to the EPA in 2010, Americans generated 250 million tons of garbage. Of this garbage, food scraps, paper products, and yard trimmings made up 56% of the garbage that was sent to landfills that could have been used for composting. What can we do to lessen the amount of materials headed to landfills? Composting at home is part of the solution to limit the amount of waste that is sent to a landfill. Composting is a natural process and it's easy to do. When you compost, it decomposes organic material and it's in a controlled environment and consists of 5 components. Of the 5 components, the first is nutrient balance, particle size, moisture control, oxygen flow, and temperature or heat. Materials used in composting fall into 2 categories. Green, which is rich in nitrogen, that would be grass and food scraps like coffee grounds and eggshells. And brown, the brown category, which is rich in carbon, that consists of dry leaves, sawdust, wood chips, and twigs. Creating a compost in the backyard consists of a bin that you can purchase. It could be a wooden bin that you build, or it can be 2 metal stakes and chicken wire. What you'll need is a tarp to cover it as well to maintain the heat. First you're going to add, the first thing you need to do is make sure it's in a dry, shady area near a water source. First add the brown and the green elements, make sure there's no large pieces, and be sure to water to moisten. Cover the compost pile with a tarp to help hold in the heat. And the things you can add that I did not mention earlier are animal manure, however do not use pet waste, paper products, dryer lint, fruits and vegetables, hay and straw, houseplants, and shredded newspaper. As household waste is generated, you want to moisten it with water, and then as you generate things in your home, when you do food particles, go ahead and put them in, but make sure that they're buried at least 10 inches under the top layers. You're going to want to turn your compost pile at least once every 2 weeks. That allows for oxygen flow and it rotates the materials for better decomposition. Transformation of waste to organic material can take as little as 3 to 6 months or as long as 2 years. The determining factor is how often the pile is turned. When the pile is turned on a regular basis, the transformation to rich organic matter is faster. Once the composting process is completed, organic material rich in nutrients can be used to improve the soil. Compost mixed with soil can be used under trees and shrubs, or it can be used in the garden or flower beds. And according to the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, compost material is ready to use when it has an earthy smell. You do not want it to smell rancid or rotten. And they suggest take special care not to use organic material that's not finished decomposing because it contains organic acids which could damage plants. According to the EPA, compost helps keep contaminants in runoff from stormwater from leaking into water tables. The Texas Commission on Environmental Quality claims that use of mulch and compost or in our planting beds, helps lessen water usage by 30 to 60%. Now let's review the highlights. Today we've looked at the composting process to help lessen the amount of materials heading to landfills. We looked at the amount of material that go to landfills that could be used for composting instead. We reviewed the process of creating a composting pile and materials necessary for decomposing matter that will create a nutrient-rich material. And lastly, we looked at the beneficial uses of composting material. The composting process may seem a little time-consuming, and it takes time for that final product, but the benefits of using a virtual no-cost materials to enhance the soil in our yards with a nutrient-rich material that will help lessen the contamination of groundwater and lessen the amount of materials that go to landfills far outweighs the time invested to save a slice of our environment. Thank you for your time. All right.